Top of the morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the coaches out there and to planet Earth. A hearty and healthy Irish hello. You're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. Yes, think of it as Steve Chandler, Marianne Williamson, and Robert Williams. They had a baby. Hopefully it would be something like this show. Our next guest is, oh boy, our next guest is just a wonderful, wonderful author, creator, trainer, facilitator, coach. I'll actually take a moment and read about it. We're going to be talking about his new book called How to Get Clients. Steve Chandler is our guest today. He's the author and co-author of over 30 books published in dozens of languages around the world. He's also the founder of the Coaching Prosperity School, the ACS as it's called. I've gone through that school twice. It's wonderful. It's now online, which has taught hundreds of coaches around the world for a decade and a half the principles and systems behind creating a prosperous coaching practice. His new book, How to Get Clients, describes the inner ways of being that will lead a coach to financial success based on the work done in the Coaching Prosperity School. And if you want to reach out to Steve, you can go to Steve Chandler, CHANDLER.com. And I'll give you that link again at the end of the call today. If you're listening on the radio, yes, you know those things with the dial in your cars, not an iPod, it's called a radio, big in the 50s. You can pick us up at 92.5 FM on the dial. If you're flying around the universe, you can pick us up on the internet at KOWS.FM, or you can pick up a copy of the show on all those beautiful social media networks, YouTube, iTunes. Just put in the Celtic Coach radio show. All right, without further ado, I'm so pleased to introduce to you someone who's been my mentor, my coach for quite a while, and someone whose work has made a huge difference in terms of creating clients and making a business, creating a business from coaching. Because before I met Steve, I had been trying to build my business for about 5 years. And I was not having any success. And it wasn't until I met Steve and Steve started to train me and teach me and talk to me about the value of service, not selling, but service. There is a way to sell through service, and you can use serving as a way to sell. But selling to sell was something that I thought you had to do as a coach. And his new book, How to Get Clients, we're going to talk about it today, talks more about not the strategies to create a coaching practice, but more the principles, which is one of the reasons I love this book. Now, for someone who, Steve, who, as you put it in your book, fell into coaching by accident, being a coach was never your calling. You've written quite a few books on the subject. I'm wondering why.
Well, the books that I've written on the subject, Dermot, have been written late in life. My earlier books were a lot different, but it took me many years to really understand how coaching worked, when it worked well, and how to build a business through coaching. It took me a long time. So if I had tried to write a book about it in my early coaching career, it would have been a tragedy. It would not have been, they wouldn't even have listed it in the business category. It would be in disaster fiction, I think. They would develop a new category for that book. So I was doing everything wrong, or let's just say not wrong, but educationally ineffective.
Wow. I can, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about all the coaching sessions that I've had as a new coach and how even trying to build my business as a new coach went sideways a lot. I wonder, Steve, could you share with us your worst coaching session? Let's start it off easy.
Well, I had there's so many, it's hard to choose.
You could write a book just on that, Steve.
Yeah, there's a lot of content for that.
Yeah,
But I would try it. They all had one thing in common, and I was trying to be someone I wasn't. I was trying to be impressive. I was trying to imitate people I'd seen, like I would watch a video of Werner Erhard when he was doing an EST session so many years ago. And he used confrontational kind of coaching, where he really called people out for their victim thinking and their victim language or whatever. And I thought, well, that must be the way I should do it. And, I had no idea whether I was hurting people's feelings or intimidating them. And
yeah.
I was trying to be impressive. And I had one guy who actually signed up with me and said, I read one of your early books. I want to work with you, and I'm going to send my money over, and could we just talk so I can tell you what I want to accomplish? So he's already a committed client. And I talked to him for half an hour and he changed his mind. He said, really, the more I think about it, I think I'm going to look around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think I was just trying to be somebody I wasn't. And the one thing I really was not trying to do was hear him, listen to him, and let him do the talking and explain to me what he wanted. That was what I finally came around to, was the most effective way to connect with potential clients is to hear them out.
Yeah. I know all the coaches that are listening, Steve, they're like, yeah, because I think all coaches have that. They do that at the start, where they're like trying to be impressive. I certainly did it for quite a few years, trying to be confrontational, trying to be the expert, trying to look like I'm the professional. I got all my stuff together. And I don't think any coach really has all their stuff together. But I'll tell you, I know that when I coach people, I grow. Not only do they grow, hopefully, on a good day, but I grow too. Has that been your experience too, that you've grown alongside your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I learned so much from them about how the mind works and how the heart works and how they work together or apart. And I learn a great deal from my clients. And like I tell other coaches now, every time you have a coaching session, you come away from that session a better coach than you were before the session, whether you know it or not. It's not something you learn in a book. It's something that comes from direct experience.
Yeah, I've found that too, Stephen. It was one of the things I remember you saying to me earlier on, because I had this whole thing of the, you call it the failed sales calls versus creative contribution. And I certainly had a lot of that, early on, where I was having coaching sessions with people, but forgetting totally that having these sessions with people, I was becoming a better coach. And as you say, people they don't pay you for coaching, they pay you for impact.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Let's jump in and talk a little bit about your book, Steve. I loved your book. Now, this was a little different, I thought, actually, from your typical, like the Prosperous Coach is one of the books. It's kind of for all the coaches listening, it's really the business building Bible for coaches. My school, your school. I know a lot of what Rich does, what CWASH does, but a lot of some of the best coaches out there, they all teach your philosophy: service first, sell later. And the Prosperous Coach was a great book from that. But I want to read a little intro to kind of set up the stage for what we're going to talk about today. I've written a book with Rich Litfin called The Prosperous Coach, which gives actionable specifics to coaches on how to get clients. The present book offers what I call vital internal operating principles for client acquisition. When you embody these principles, strategies like those discussed in the Prosperous Coach come naturally to mind throughout your day. How to Get Clients is written on a more personal level about the internal mind shifts and spiritual upgrades that have occurred for me and for so many others, and which can give coaches hope and a new sense of optimism that those actions can be executed without worry or fear. This profession is like any other. No heroics or special courage is needed. And the ultimate proof of that is that if I can do it, you can do it too. Why did you decide to write a book on operating principles as opposed to strategies and techniques, Steve?
Well, I learned over time that your state of being, your level of being, and who you are being, who I am being, not what I am doing, not what my script is, or my manipulative closing technique on a call, or memorized questions, but who am I being with this person makes a much greater impact and brings us closer together. If I can be conscious of that going in, the call is going to go well. And when I'm trying to figure out what to do and what to say and how to respond, the call ends on a different, less authentic level. And it doesn't make as much of a connection I need to make if I'm going to have this person become a client. And that's one of the reasons that I discovered the hard way, even though my own coach was attempting to convince me of this, that in one-to-one coaching, there's nothing wrong with sales if I'm selling computers or candy bars or cars. Sales techniques are good and people can be a skillful salesperson. But in coaching, we are creating a relationship. And people won't sign up if they don't feel safe, if they don't feel related, if they don't feel, if they feel judged. And that was one of the things I was doing wrong at the start. I was trying to be impressive by judging the person and telling them what they're doing wrong right away. And they felt judged, even though I might have been accurate. And they might have even acknowledged, you're right, you're accurate, but the feeling judged is not a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know, when I was growing up, every time I got criticized by my father, looking back, he was right. He was trying to point me in the right direction, but I would just hear it as criticism. I wanted to get out of the room. And so that occurs too when people try to create a relationship. This is a relationship business. It's not a sales business. Now, if I'm selling my book, it's different. I want to market, I want to sell, I want to do podcasts and interviews, and that'll sell the book because you're only risking $19. But if someone's going to sign up with me for 6 months with a fairly high fee to open up their whole world, share their fears, they're not going to do that because they saw me on the Oprah show. They're going to do that because we've had conversations where they did not feel judged.
Yeah. Well, you had a client, didn't you, who was actually very, very popular. I think maybe she was on the Oprah show and she still wasn't making her business work.
Wasn't making it work at all. And she finally got on the Oprah show, and Oprah thought she was wonderful and she thought her book was marvelous. And then after the show, she went home to her apartment in Manhattan and nobody was calling her and saying, hey, I want you to coach me. That's not why people call people or approach people for coaching. It's not because of the Oprah show or because they've seen them on the internet 1,000 times.
That's where the relationship part comes in. You have to build a relationship with someone.
That's right.
It totally makes sense. I mean, and I think it's why, when you get 100 emails a day saying, buy this, and I'm going to transform your life and send you SEOs, delete.
Yeah.
There's no trust there. There's no rapport. There's
Right.
absolutely no relationship at all. And what do you say to coaches? Coaches say this to me all the time. And I have to laugh, when I talk to them, but hey, you got to build relationships, and you got to do it slowly, and you got to spend time with people. Now, sometimes that's, 3 1-hour sessions, or sometimes it's a 1 2-hour session, or whatever it might be. Typically, I say to the coaches, 3 1-hour sessions to really give people an experience of what coaching is, so that the coaching does the selling as opposed to them trying to sell the coaching. What would you say to coaches when they say to you, I got to spend all this time for free with a client?
Yeah.
And I may or may not get paid? Like, what do you say to coaches when they say that? Because I'm sure they have.
Oh yeah, many times. And I just tell them to relax and calm down.
That's good advice, Steve.
Yeah. Open your mind. Be willing to listen. Think it through. Really understand why did you hire the coach you're working with? And why would a person hire a coach based on all these claims? Now, if I say I have some special knives that will cut steak this fast, and I show you on TV, and I always fall victim to these things. Like, give me my phone. They only have 32 boxes of knives left, and they're going fast.
Yeah. And you'll get an extra knife if you buy now.
Yeah, that's right. And wait, that's not all.
Yeah.
So I send my credit card number, and I only have to send $29 a month for the next year. But I get these knives. Now, they could be like, well, they just cut like any other knife. And so people can risk that kind of thing, and they do, obviously. But for you and I'm going to partner with you. I'm going to be a life partner with you. I will commit to what you're committed to, and we will work together candidly, fearlessly, and nothing's off the table. And we will take whatever beliefs that you've had all your life about who you are, and we will delete the ones that don't serve you. People don't know that's going to happen unless they talk to you for a while. I mean, it sounds great, but for them to really buy that or buy into that, they have to experience it. They have to know that talking to this person actually does change me. It makes me see more possibility. It makes me not judge myself so much. And they can't know that without time, without some time.
Yeah. As you say, the secret to getting something done is time and attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Most people are thinking TA, that means something else. No, it means time and attention. All right, let's jump in here, Steve. This is a great little segue to your chapter. Am I a moron, or am I just confused? I love your title, Steve. I don't understand what you're saying in the chapters, but I love the titles.
Oh, good. Well, the titles were written for you.
Yes, yeah. I just read the titles, and then I think, okay, I've got a good idea of what this guy's talking about. All right, I want to read something here because it's a nice segue into answering the question. Because part of what we want to do today, Steve, is we want to answer the question, how do I get clients? Since you wrote a book on it, we might as well try to answer that question today. And I think this is a good segue into that. So it's chapter 4. And anyone who's just joined us, we're interviewing Mr. Steve Chandler, who's not a dentist, how to get clients. All right. I would tell my own coach at the beginning of my career, I'm such a moron. He would try to make me feel better. He'd say I was just confused. And we're talking about Steve Hardison is Steve's coach. Confused about what was smart for a coach and what was stupid. I wanted to have a strong, prosperous career, get out of debt and build some financial security and see if my self-esteem could get its head above the mental quicksand I was living in. He said, my coach, to make money in this world, find someone with a problem and solve it for them. I tried to tell him that I was already trying to do that. He said, no, you're trying to find someone to whom you can talk about yourself and your coaching. He was right, and it wasn't working. Would you say that answers the question, how do I get clients, Steve? Find somebody to help with a problem and help them? Would that be the answer, or would you, what else would you add to that?
I think that's a really important factor. I'm not looking for people, I'm looking for problems. And the problem, it can be the problem of someone not having achieved what they want to achieve. It doesn't have to be some kind of deep psychological problem or anything like that. It can, it's just some opportunity or some possibility that's not being actualized, and some change a person wants to have happen inside of them, or usually outside of them, because they think it has to happen outside of them, but really it starts inside of them. And find that and talk about that. Don't talk about coaching or who I am or who I've coached. I want to talk about what it is that you want to have changed. So sometimes a new coach will tell me, I talked to that person for 90 minutes and then they just went away and never came back. I offered another talk, and I would say, okay, what was their problem? Well, what do you mean? Well, what was the main thing that if it had changed, they would have been happy? And there'd be silence. Like, I don't know. They're not paying me yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was a coach not looking for the problem, but looking to talk about coaching and about themselves. And that's a sales pitch. And the sales pitch actually works against creating a client. It doesn't help. It's not just neutral. It actually pushes a person away, because their defenses go up. There's, like you said, I delete this, I delete that, and people make these wild claims that they can do. I don't even look at that email. That's mentally healthy on your part. That's resisting some kind of overt claim based on nothing. That's not something you want to entertain or give your time and attention to. But if you sit down on a park bench with somebody waiting for a bus and they talk to you for a while and you realize, wow, this things are changing inside of me. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a coach. Give me your card. Can I call you again? And the person, you've never mentioned you're a coach. So you want to really turn the telescope around so that you're looking at the correct things that would have a person become a client. And that is trusting that you care about their problem or opportunity more than anything else in this conversation. And that feeling they get, well, here's someone who, number one, really understands me. Number two, has no judgment of how I've messed up or how weak I am. And number three, I've already been helped. That's the service part. I've already been served by talking to this person.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like I know early on in my career, Steve, before I met you, I was kind of doing mirror coaching. Like I didn't see the client. I saw me in front of me. How am I doing? Do they like me? Are they going to pay me? Am I going to get them as a client? Mirror coaching. In terms of that, Steve, how to get clients, you share a wonderful story about you and your coach sitting down and you were saying, oh, how do I get clients? And your coach says, I want you to open up your emails, print them out, bring them to me. Can you talk a little bit about that story? I think it's a great story to illustrate one way of creating new clients.
Yeah. And the big thing he wanted to illustrate to me was because my brain was racing so fast, trying to get into my own future. I wasn't slowing down, seeing what was in front of me right now. I was trying to get out of the now into a better future. And he was trying to show me that you've got people in your world that you can talk to right now. And I'd say, I don't. If I did, I'd be talking to him. I don't know who to talk to.
Yeah.
And
all the coaches are going, oh,
yeah, I don't know who to talk to. I mean, there are only 8 billion people. I've been through them. You know, I don't know where, maybe we'll go to another planet. But so he had me bring those emails and he would say, okay, who is this person who sent you this email? Who is it? They sent it to you. They asked you about something. And I would tell them who it was. And the first one on the list was a small business that used to take my audios and turn them into CDs. That was way back in the old days. And they hadn't delivered CDs I ordered. They sent me an email and they said, we're very sorry, Mr. Chandler. We value your business, but we've got problems in our business here. And we've had a delay in production and we'll deliver them in a couple days. And so Steve said, my coach said to me, I said, so there's nothing there. They're just a business I use. He said, slow down.
Yeah.
They are telling you they have problems with their business. What do you do for a living? You help people with their problems. And they're telling you they have problems and you're ignoring it. And you're coming to me and saying, I don't know who to talk to. So with them,
what can you say to that? It's like,
yeah, guilty, Your Honor.
Guilty, Your Honor. Put the cuffs on me.
So I emailed them and I said, I help business problems. You've been really great for me. I'm sorry you've got business problems. I help small businesses, business owners, people in general with problems. I'm willing to come over and take a look and see if I can help you. And they said, sure, that would be great. And so I went over there after my session with Steve. I sat with them, got a whiteboard out, and we looked at every problem in the business and we worked on it together. And we came up with ideas, we brainstormed, and they later became a client of mine. Not much later than that, they said, we need you here. So that was just one. And there were so many of those in the 50, like, who's this? Well, it's my sister and her husband is having a really hard time. And he's a salesman at a new company, doesn't know anything about sales. He's very charming and smart, having a hard time. And so it's my brother-in-law. And I said, I can help you with that. Let's do 2 or 3 sessions. He said, I can't afford you. And I said, that's fine. We'll do 2 or 3. And someday, if you can afford me or any of your salespeople there can afford me, you can recommend me. And he said, okay. So his sales went up and he started, his boss said, what are you doing differently? Well, I had a coach. Who is this coach? So the next thing I knew, I was training the sales team over there. So it was like, it's all right in front of you. And just slow down. I went to another one was from my accountant saying, boy, your numbers don't look good. Right.
Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah. And but I had paid him regularly over the years, so he liked me, even though he felt sorry for me.
And lucky him, Steve, that he did get paid over the years.
Yeah, he knew he was lucky seeing all the debts and the people that didn't get paid. So I went, at my coach's hinting suggestion, I went in, sat down with him, and I said, listen, I know you have a lot of people, maybe not in as bad shape as I am numbers wise, but I do help people with this and with that. And I'm willing to give a free session to any of your clients, just in basic life coaching and business coaching. And it'll be a gift from you to them. My promise to you is I will not try to sell them coaching. If they ask me later, then I will tell them how I work, but I will not, this will not be a sales call or a bait and switch. And he said, wow, that's a great offer. So every so often I'd get a call from my accountant and he would say, I've got someone who needs your help. And one thing I did before that, because this is all based on experience, not promotion. I said to my accountant, now for you to refer me, it should be authentic. You should be enthusiastic about it. So give me someone you're close to in your office and he said, well, how about me? I said, okay. He said, I'm having trouble with my son. All right. So I coached him a few times. Once I did that, he got great success from the coaching. He started sending me things and sending me people. So it's relationship, it's people around you, it's a willingness to help everywhere you look.
And what I found interesting, Steve, is like, and I know this to be true for most coaches. I mean, you had your prosperity school for 12 years. I went through that twice, and now it's online. And we'll make sure to give that at the end of our chat today. And I have a school online. And our philosophy, well, your philosophy, which I took on because it made complete sense to me, was the service model. Not trying to sell coaching, but I got into coaching to help people. I got into coaching to solve problems, to help people, have a better life. And most coaches that I know, if not all, have done the same. Yet they come into coaching and they think, I've got to sell myself, I've got to sell the coaching, I've got to tell people about coaching, blah, 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 blah. But talk to us a little bit about, I love your quote, service. Service is a well-paid coaching relationship. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's, it's one of the principles that you talk about in your book is service. So could you talk a little bit about that? How did you come to that yourself?
Well, the part about being well paid, a lot of people confuse the prosperity school method of serve before you sell. They confuse that with, I'm just going to be like Mother Teresa or somebody,
Yes.
and I'm going to just serve and give my time everywhere and never ever talk about money or talk about selling. And they use it as a way to postpone creating a business. And I know you do a program on the art and science of building a coaching business. That's something coaches don't take to very kindly at the beginning, the actually building a business. But once I realized, and I got help from my coach, that it is all about service, but the highest service you can provide is a fully paid professional program for someone, because that's where real change occurs. That's you, they're getting the best of you. So if you're a brain surgeon, your highest service to humanity is being in the operating room with your high skills and saving people. and healing people and giving people, bringing them back to life. It's not going out to lunch and chatting with potential patients or like you call a top brain surgeon in the country, and you say, "Hi, I'd like to just pick your brain. Can I take you to lunch?" They're going to say, "You know, I have a heavy operating schedule. I won't be able to do that." And people understand, and they say, "Yeah, no, go do your good work." So people confuse service at the beginning by, I just give away time, and it doesn't matter who I talk to. I'll just talk to everybody in the world. No, the thing about the business owner and the accountant, I had to be wise about going over and giving them my time, knowing that they had a high likelihood of being a client someday. It's not about sitting down with every homeless person you see when you walk to work, sitting down with them in their tent and giving them 2 or 3 hours. That's a nice thing to do. I'm not saying don't ever do that, but if you're working and you're trying to create a coaching practice, make sure that service includes and is especially well delivered when it's done inside a professional program.
Yeah, I would probably not have to think much if I went in for brain surgery and I met the two brain surgeons, and the one guy on the left says, "Look, I'll do it for free," and the other guy says it's going to be 50 grand.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to take the 50 grand guy.
Yeah.
Because I know, well, you know, this guy I think may be committed to his craft, and I think we make the mistake. I know I did, and I know a lot of new coaches do, that they think, well, you know, I don't want to charge because they don't have the money for coaching, and you know, they're kind of broke and they're not doing too well right now. And I find that a lot of coaches have exactly what you said. You know, they want to serve, but they don't want to charge for coaching. You know, they make the coaching fee about them and
That's
not
it.
about the client's commitment. Can you talk a little bit about that, Steve? I love how you talk about it in terms of, you know, the coaching fee is just a number to get in the gate. You talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, so I want to make sure that that people who don't have a full fee, I don't want to devalue my time by let's say giving them a discount. I used to do that all the time. I would somebody would say, "Can you be our keynote speaker at our event? What's your fee for a keynote?" And I'd say $10,000, and they'd say, "Oh, gee, we only have 1,000 in our budget for a speaker." And I'd say, "Done."
Yes.
That was a good negotiation. We got that done. I used to think of myself as a good negotiator by being willing anything for money.
Yeah.
That was
the lower the better.
Yeah, lower the better.
Yeah.
But I think, what was your question again, Dermot? The question
I've completely forgot my question, Steve. I was hoping you'd remember.
about the number is just like a phone number, right?
Yes, the coaching fee. Talk a little bit about why coaches don't charge.
Exactly. Yeah. So one thing is, let's say someone has you charge 2,000, they say, "I only have 1,000."
Mhm.
Now, a lot of early coaches say, "Well, okay, I'll just charge you 1,000. I feel sorry for you, and I'll give you the same thing." You don't want to do that. You don't want to devalue your time. But what you could do, rather than getting a reputation as the discount coach, is you could say, "Let's just, if you only have 1,000, let's just do half the time. You know, we were going to do 3 months. Let's do a month and a half, and we'll see what we can accomplish." So that's the way you're getting full value for your time, and you are coaching people. And when you're new, you want to be coaching. So you want to err on the side of having a doable fee for people when you're beginning, so that you're doing a lot of paid coaching, not a lot of free coaching. But once you get a lot of clients at a lower fee, it'll grow. Your fee will grow, and your reputation will grow, and your skills will grow, because the more you coach, the better you get.
Yeah, there's no downside to spending time with people, whether they sign up for a session or not. And I hope the coaches listening really hear that, because I was, every time when I started coaching, and every time somebody said no to a coaching offer, and of course back in the day I didn't know how to even make a coaching offer, like a professional coaching offer. Like I learned from you the difference between professional and social coach. Social coach, it's all about me. Professional coach, it's all about the client. And I remember like making these, I wouldn't call them proposals. They were more kind of like, for God's sakes, please give me some money for coaching. And they never really went anywhere. But I would always be peed off, oh, they didn't pay me for the coaching. And I saw how I kind of really went down in terms of like, I don't want to do this coaching anymore. And I think, the stats are that, and this may be higher, I don't know, but 97% of coaches in the first year, if they don't start making money, which most of them don't, they quit the business building. They get the coaching skills, but they don't spend any time on the business building skills. What would you say, Steve, to the coaches who are new and are starting out, and we want to lower that 97% drop off rate? What would you say to the new coaches as they just start on the journey?
Well, have a fee that's doable. Have a fee that doesn't have people have a stroke or a heart attack or something like that. Have a fee where you can be working with people. I know Michael Neal, who you and I both admire and have learned a lot from. I think his story is that he started over in Europe. He was coaching people for $4 a session. And it was, he had a lot of clients. He had a lot of people buying sessions, but he wasn't making a lot of money.
Drinking a lot of coffee, but not making a lot.
That's right. A lot of tea as well.
Yeah.
But he got better and better as a coach.
Yeah.
And so it's really important. Another thing is, a lot of people tell their wives or their husbands, I'm gonna go to a coaching school, and really learn this profession, or I'll go to Dermot's school and really learn to build a coaching business. And they say, wait a minute, why do you have to pay all that money for that? You've already done another program. Why are you paying money to do this? You should just do it. And you don't need a certification or some kind of thing like a doctor, lawyer, accountant needs. You can just go do it. Well, you can, but doctors, they go through medical school. No, when someone's going to medical school, their partner doesn't say, why are you going to medical school? We've got knives around here. We've got towels. Why don't you just start operating? Why do you want to be a lawyer? You argue, you're good at arguing, making your point. Why do we have to pay for law school? And nobody says that about other professions, but because coaching is so new, it's really a new profession, even though it's growing like crazy. It's what they call a trending profession.
Yeah. It's second fastest growing business right now, next to technology. So it's certainly in its infancy, Steve.
Yeah, and it's growing because it works.
Yeah.
Nothing grows and trends that turns out not to work.
Yeah.
It really works. It really helps people. And it's a growing profession, but it does not have regulations, systems. Like if you're going to pay an accountant per hour or pay someone who's going to landscape, you know what you're going to pay. And you're going to pay a lawyer, what's your hourly fee? How long are we going to work on this case? But in coaching, you have no idea. There are no standards. And so people who start out, they're kind of swimming at a loss, and they need to learn a lot, but they need to take responsibility for learning. I'm going to go learn this. I'm going to find out how other coaches do it. And so it takes initiative. It takes a actionable desire and a commitment to say, this is going to be what I do for a living. And I'm going to learn from people who do it, how they do it, and I'm going to practice that and get to where they are. And that really works. All the coaches, it's an apprentice kind of business. A lot of coaches don't have a coach. Well, that would be like a doctor saying, I don't believe in medicine. I perform medicine because I make a lot of money at it, but I myself would never go to a doctor. They'll just screw you up.
Yeah.
No doctor would say that. They might be thinking that, but for a coach to say, a lot of coaches say, if my clients think I have a coach, they'll think something's wrong with me. No, that's not what it is. Coaching is about the future. It's not about healing everything wrong with you and making your past more significant than it already is. It's about creating the future. It's different than psychology. And coaching is about, once we get a few problems deleted, it's about going from good to great. It's not about healing all your victim-y problems. Yeah, we do have to deal with that along the way, but it's going from good to great. That's why everybody loves it. It's about possibility.
Yeah.
But you have to learn how to be a good coach. And then the hardest thing to learn is how to get clients. At least it was for me. I feared money. I feared selling. I didn't even want to talk to people. I had a small group of people still willing to talk to me, but I wasn't one of these people, who just gregarious. I love people. I love people. One of those, in the locker room, one of those
Yeah.
towel snappers.
Yeah,
One of those guys. I was sitting in the corner in the locker room, trying to get out of there as fast as I could.
I see. I want the point that I want the coaches to hear in this, Steve, and it's a point that I think we're both trying to make, is that you pay for coaching skills, but to build a business like any other person, any other shop owner who learns to open a bakery, they have to learn how to sell to their customers. They have to learn how to talk to their customers. They have to learn how to set the business up, structure for the business. What kinds of things do I need to have in my business? What kind of, when am I working on my business, working in my business, which is something that I learned from you. And coaches think that, well, I've got my coaching skills. Now I'm just going to hang out my shingle and it's all good. And the truth is, you've got to learn the business building skills as well as the coaching skills. And that's was really new for me until I met you and you started teaching me how to actually build my business.
Right. And then the second step, which you've gotten really good at because you teach it now with humor and joy. The second step is not just learning how to do it, but allowing yourself to fall in love with that part of the business.
Yes, yeah.
So
that's the process.
Yeah, the process, and the more you do it, the more you enjoy it. The better you get at it, the more fulfilling it is. And you want to get to the point where when you see on your calendar you're talking to a potential client, that's as fun and enjoyable. You anticipate that as much as you do knowing that you're going to talk to your favorite client later in the day. And so I'm not going to try to, oh no, I have a sales call today. Boy, these are hard. I hope I don't fail again. That's how I used to think. Everything was just failed sales calls.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love how you and most coaches fall into that failed sales calls. I know I did. Even today, you know, I sometimes I have a lot on a client. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of money on the table here. I hope I get this client, and oh that
Yeah.
you know. So I don't know if that ever goes away, Steve, but I found for myself, with your help, that the more I step into a service mindset, the more I step out of trying to get and trying to sell. And that's been my teaching. That's been my learning is really stepping into the service aspect. And I read that quote from you every day. Service is a well-paid coaching relationship, because full stop. Like if you just took that quote and said, all I'm going to do today is find people who have a problem and I'm going to serve them. Service is a well-paid coaching relationship. You could certainly start building your business on that.
Yeah, you're right. It is being totally profoundly aware that this is a relationship business.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do today. Create relationships, not sell people things.
And that's good news for coaches, because that's why we got into coaching, because we like people. We like helping people. We like talking to people. That's why we got into coaching. We didn't get into sell coaching. Steve, we have about 3 minutes left, and I'm just wondering, what will people walk away with from your book? What when you wrote it, what did you want them to walk away with?
They'll walk away with another one of my books. That was I wanted them to have another one of my books.
Yeah, I have a special shelf, Steve, because I've so many. I think it's like 35 books or something.
Wow.
Only.
You know, I don't know what they'll walk away with, but one thing I can guarantee is they'll walk away with what my experience really was as someone who was really blundering, not enjoying coaching. I didn't have a passion for it. I didn't have, I hated the idea of business. I didn't like money. And so if someone that messed up about the system we're living with, and just simple exchange of value, and it was triggered by life itself, triggered by reality, can put together a successful coaching practice, then they can certainly do it. So I wanted them to walk away with what my experience was, and secondarily, what the experience of my clients has been over the last 14 years that I've been helping other coaches.
Yeah, it's certainly I love that you shared more stories, because I'm sure lots of people ask you about, working with Steve Hardison and working with your coach. I love that you shared more stories in this book. Not to put you in the ground, Steve, but how do you want to be remembered by the coaching world?
I don't really want to be remembered, especially. I mean, I don't care about being remembered.
Yeah.
I really I want to have any help I can give. I want it to be now. I want to live in the now. I don't want to. I used to go to classes and write your obituary, create your own legacy, and that just fed my own ego. And my work has gone better when the ego is left outside the door in the rain or in a ice storm.
Why do you, Steve? You've been helping coaches for quite a while. We won't say how many years, but quite a few. Why do you still do what you do, Steve?
Oh, I enjoy it. I do it for the fun of it. You know, I play with it. It's a game. It's fun. It's exciting. I love seeing other coaches do really well, especially when they didn't think they were going to. It's just great joy for me.
And probably the most important question, Steve, what out of all the books that you've written, do you have a favorite?
Yes, I do. I was asked that on a lesser show, a less wonderful and popular show than yours recently. And my favorite book is a book called The Woman Who Attracted Money.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's you wrote that as a 1950s, what do you call that genre?
Yeah, noir or
Yeah.
detective story.
A detective story, yeah. I love that. That was pretty cool.
It's about a detective who who retires and becomes a life coach.
Yeah.
But he still has to solve one last crime.
Yeah, I love that book. That was very cool. Very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it there today. We were talking to the wonderful Mr. Steve Chandler, his new book called How to Get Clients. And if you've just joined us, you've missed the whole show. But don't worry, it's recorded. Anyway, until the next time, you've been listening to KOWF, KOWF.FM. You can pick us up on the radio dial at 92.5 FM. And if you're flying around the universe, you can pick us up at KOWS.FM or just go to thecelticcoach.com. Steve, if people want to find out more about the Prosperity School for Coaches, want to find out more about you, where do they go?
Just my webpage, stevechandler.com. It's all there.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Until the next time, coaches, think big, have fun, stay curious, and thanks for watching the Celtic Coach radio show. Cheers.